Hello and welcome to our presentation today. The Longmont Area Chamber of Commerce and Longmont Power and Communications are hosting this presentation on energy efficiency and building tune-ups. And with that, I'm going to turn this over to Chuck Finleon with the Longmont Power and Communications to start us off.
Thanks, Kathy. Welcome, everybody. So this morning we have Bryce Brady from Platte River Power Authority, our wholesale power provider, and he's the team leader on the business section of Efficiency Works, and he's going to give us the presentation that Kathy had referenced. So with that, Bryce, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thanks, Chuck, and let me pull up the presentation here and we'll get going. All right. So to kick everything off, like Chuck mentioned, I'm Bryce Brady with Platte River Power Authority. I'm here to talk about Efficiency Works business and the building tune-up offering, along with all of our other program offerings today. And as we talk through all of our service offerings today, want to make sure it's a good conversation. It's not a huge group today, so feel free to turn on your cameras, use the chat features, raise your hand, whatever it might be, to encourage all the conversation that's possible, because the more questions we have throughout will help people be informed of the program offerings that we have. If you got any other questions along the way, feel free to always email us at business@efficiencyworks.org. And we have a team of staff at the Platte River headquarters building up in Fort Collins to respond to any of those questions. First up, I just want to give a reminder of some upcoming events. On June 17th, we're going to go beyond electricity and talk about conserving water. Our counterparts in Longmont are actually going to put on a virtual event to talk about water efficiency and how that can complement all the energy efficiency programs that Efficiency Works business offers. And to get signed up for that, please go to the Efficiency Works website, and there'll be a drop-down menu on the resources, look for events, and you can get registered, and we'll send you the link to that event. And as Chuck mentioned, I am Bryce Brady. I work at Platte River Power Authority. I am the Energy Solutions Supervisor. And what that really means is I get the luxury of working every day with a talented group of folks that oversee our energy efficiency programs for our business communities and come up with new and innovative ideas while working side by side with the Longmont Power and Communications staff to provide new and innovative programs moving forward into the future. And what we want to talk about today is what is Efficiency Works and some of the success that Efficiency Works has had in Longmont over the years, along with our current program offerings, and then dig a little deeper and focus in on building tune-up. It's a new program offering that we brought back in an enhanced way this year, and really want to see some participation grow moving forward. Before we get started on all that, though, just a little background of who we are and what it all is Platte River Power Authority is the generation and transmission entity. So we produce the electricity and send it to our owner communities of Estes Park, Fort Collins, Longmont, and Loveland, that then in turn act as the distribution utility to serve all the customers in those communities. So if you're out there and you're a business customer of Longmont, you're going to get a bill from the city of Longmont for your electricity. That electricity started at Platte River Power Authority and found its way to you. Because of that, we serve pretty big territory here in northern Colorado of those communities. It's primarily within the city limits of those communities, with a few interesting spots along the way as well. But we also want to make sure not just serving our customers with electricity, but a variety of program offerings. Over the last couple of years, you may have heard a whole lot of discussion on distributed energy resources and what that means, from energy efficiency to beneficial electrification to distributed generation, electric vehicles, solar, anything and everything in between. And what we do from day to day is we're looking at all the different sources of energy and how we're using energy and finding ways to manage that in a way that our grid can keep reliable power to everybody. Today, we're going to focus in on energy efficiency and the program offerings that serve the business customers of Longmont. And under the energy efficiency realm, we have the program called Efficiency Works. And what that is a collaborative program amongst Platte River staff and its 4 owner communities, and including the Longmont staff that are actually on this call today. And if they don't ask me questions along the way, I will be asking them to see how things are working in our programs. But it is truly a collaborative effort to make a regional program offering for customers that have properties in multiple communities, or those efficiency contractors to have a common set of rules across the communities so we can take advantage of the economies of scale and really make a bigger impact on our local environment and the communities we serve. And within Efficiency Works, we have our Efficiency Works business portfolio. And really, it's a portfolio of programs for all of your needs, energy efficiency needs. We have resources available for staff to help with business customers make energy efficiency decisions. There's service providers, so those contractors out there that can do the installs of these efficiency upgrades. We have incentives available to help pay for the upgrades. And then what we're going to talk about a little bit later is building tune-ups. So you combine all the resources, service providers, and incentives into one full package, and you have a building tune-up offering where it'll make your building run at its optimal condition for years to come. But how does this really work in Longmont, and who actually is participating? I wanted to take a moment and just kind of look at over the past 10 years, what has happened in Longmont. This graph here shows the number of rebate projects that have occurred in Longmont. And as you can see in the last several years, we really kind of hovered around 200 projects a year in Longmont. What that means is this isn't just one or two businesses up and down Main Street participating. This is businesses throughout the community, from Main Street to Hover to, just any commercial property in town could participate. So it is everywhere, from big business to small business, many business each and every year, some repeat customers, some new customers each year. What does that actually save? Well, it saves quite a bit of electricity. And you see over the last several years, we've been climbing dramatically in our electricity we're saving in Longmont. And just last year alone, it was the equivalent of about 60 homes in Longmont annual electricity use of what we save just in our business community. And then you save that year in, year out. But the bigger question for most businesses is, what is the investment in Longmont? The last few years that you can see here on this graph is there's about $2 million a year going into Longmont businesses to help with these upgrades. That means the efficiency programs are sharing or giving back about $2 million a year to you as a business owner to make these upgrades, to use less electricity in the future, and then to save on your bills moving forward. How do you take advantage of all this investment in the community? Well, we have many different program offerings to get you there. Starting out, we offer rebates. So if you're going to do an upgrade on virtually anything that saves electricity, and in some cases water, but virtually anything that saves electricity, we probably have a rebate for that to help offset that capital cost. And in fact, in Longmont, we offset about 47% of the upgrade costs for energy efficiency upgrades. Not quite sure where to start of that energy efficiency upgrade? Check in with our energy advisors. This is a free service we offer to help talk through the opportunities that we have to make sure you've got the information you need to make an informed decision on what upgrades would make sense and how to take advantage of the programs that are offered. You want to dig a little deeper into your business facility and figure out, where should I start? What is the right opportunity? And you want somebody just to take a look at your equipment. We offer facility assessments. This is where we come to the site and walk through the site and then share a report with you afterwards of your top opportunities to save energy moving forward. From there, then we would transition back to energy advising to get you through the process and help fill out the paperwork, get you connected with a service provider, or whatever it takes to make you more efficient. And of course, this past year, we've all learned, because of COVID, some services are on pause or done a little bit differently. Some of our facility assessments just aren't happening right now. We are hoping to bring those back in the coming months. So we're going to guide you right back to that energy advising opportunity that I just spoke about a moment ago. Let's start the conversation now, and when we can safely get out and about, we will, and get you a lot more detail. And if you have a multifamily property, we offer a specific program for multifamily properties because they don't operate like a traditional single family home, and they don't operate like a traditional brick and mortar business. They are a hybrid somewhere in between. So we offer a program that will serve those needs. And in that program, we not only do the energy advising facility assessments, but we also show up and we'll do what we call direct installs. We will install energy efficiency items into each and every residential unit. Right now, we have some variations of that program offering due to COVID, but we still are offering efficient products for facility managers to get installed when there is a safe moment to do that. How do you take advantage of all these programs? Well, the first thing is you got to go to the website. Start out at the website and look for all the opportunities under the business tab. Most people go straight to the rebates. They're looking for the money, but that's okay. You can start anywhere on there and get all the information you need. But if you are looking for incentives, do the drop down, click incentives, and then you're essentially picking what are you trying to upgrade or what would you like to do. You can learn about all the products that we offer incentives on and take advantage of that $2 million a year that we're investing back into the local Longmont business community. In addition to the rebates, if you are a business or multifamily property that serves the income qualified community, we offer a community efficiency grant. This is really a collaborative effort that has gone a long ways working with Longmont Power and Communications staff to offer just a little bit more to those businesses that are serving those in the greatest need within the community. And what we're willing to do is increase that incentive amount quite a bit, pay up to 100% of a project upgrade, and really help those businesses that serve our income qualified community members make the most of our efficiency programs and really reduce their operating costs so they can continue to help the income qualified community. With all those items that we have out there, we do have some limitations, but those limitations also bring great results. So the investments in the community, we have a cap on that where we will not go above $200,000 of incentives per year per customer. But what that really means is that's a whole lot of money to do a whole lot of upgrades throughout the year and take advantage of our efficiency programs. On average, our rebates are closer to about $10,000 to $20,000 per upgrade right now. So $200,000 can go a long way if you bring us a big project. In 2021, so far, we have seen that we're offsetting about 47% of the efficiency upgrade costs in Longmont businesses. That's an average across the board. The smaller projects, we tend to pay a little bit more. The larger projects, the customers are putting in a little bit of their own capital on those, but 47%. So you can look at that and say, wow, somebody else is going to pay for half of my efficiency upgrade. That's a pretty good deal. And already this year, we're only 5 months into the year, the upgrades that have occurred in Longmont are saving over $80,000 annually on electric bills for Longmont businesses. And I always have to make the comment, when we get above $50,000 per upgrade project, there are some limitations on our incentives as the values get higher. So, but always ask the question, can I get money for that electric efficiency upgrade? And the answer is likely yes. Ton of information here, and we've got a nice little video coming up next to help you decipher the information to figure out where to start and where to go with it.
Did you know that Efficiency Works offers free energy advising and assessment services for business customers? It's true. These complimentary services are available to all business customers, including small and medium businesses, large commercial facilities, multifamily properties, and indoor agricultural operations. Here's how these free Efficiency Works services can help your business. Efficiency Works energy advisors can answer questions about efficiency projects you're considering, including potential energy and cost savings, rebates, operational improvements, and more. Our energy advisors can also help you plan efficiency projects, coordinate and review project bids, and help you complete your Efficiency Works rebate application. If you'd like to better understand your business's energy usage or get help developing a more comprehensive efficiency plan, a free energy assessment is the place to start. During your assessment, an energy advisor will walk through your business to learn more about its energy systems and operations. Outline your best opportunities for saving energy and water, lowering expenses, and qualifying for Efficiency Works rebates, and if needed, connect you with additional technical resources. Based on your business's eligibility, you may also qualify for additional free efficiency products or offerings, on top of our free advising and assessment services. It's all part of our commitment to helping businesses in our communities save energy, reduce costs, and support environmental stewardship. To learn more or to sign up for these free services, visit efficiencyworks.org/business, then select Advising and Assessments.
Hey, Bryce, I have a question.
Yeah, Chuck.
So given the COVID restrictions, is Efficiency Works doing on-site advice or on-site assessments currently?
So due to the COVID restrictions, currently we are not visiting site facilities to do walkthrough assessments. However, we are offering virtual energy advising services. And through a lot of those virtual services, we may have a Zoom call, a Microsoft Teams meeting, or just a phone call back and forth. And we can learn a whole lot of information about a business's facilities to provide a jump start on their energy efficiency process. And what that can look like is depending upon the platform we have our conversations, we're learning that we can provide almost a full facility assessment without actually walking through the site lately. Pictures work or video chat features work. So we are providing almost our full services, but we're not visiting you on your site yet. We will be hopefully soon in the future.
Okay, thank you.
This is Debbie. A question related to that. There was an earlier slide that said assessment services returning in the spring. Does that mean the virtual advising is returning in the spring, or in person is returning in the spring?
Nothing has been set of a date of when it's returning, and virtual advising is going on now. And on-site facility assessments will return when some of the COVID numbers continue to drop and we can maintain a safe situation.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And I'm going to ask one of the audience members here today, maybe Susan, what do you think if you get all the assessment and advising efforts underway and you just want to dig a little deeper, what kind of program might we want to talk about?
I suppose it would depend on the type of business, but I would say that if you have a lot of things that you want to address, you might want to look into retro commissioning or a building tune-up.
Perfect answer. Thank you, Susan. And with that, let's talk about building tune-up a little bit. We have a building tune-up program. So you just learned about all of our different service offerings, but if you want to dig a little bit deeper, what do you do next? How do I make sure my facility is operating at its optimal level on all fronts? Well, in a commercial setting, the equipment on a building can be quite complex, ranging from large chiller systems that have building automation systems controlling them to fairly basic heating and cooling systems that are a matter of one thermostat on the wall and changing out filters. And then you have all your process equipment inside of your building. Our programs do address all this. They take an in-depth look at your equipment and provide suggestions at a fairly low cost or no cost upgrade opportunity. So building tune-up, we just relaunched this program this year after taking a year off and reevaluating what was the right services for our customers and trying to make sure we were meeting them where they were and getting them the most efficient opportunity moving forward. So the benefits of building tune-up really are all about identify the best efficiency opportunities at no cost to you as a business, saving energy through low or no cost measures. And kind of kept picking up on a theme here where low or no cost. There's a lot of opportunities in a business that we can upgrade and improve your efficiencies with very little investment. We really want to increase awareness of operation deficiencies. So let's take a look at everything going on that is using electricity and see, is there a way to improve? Reduce your maintenance costs. Having optimal operating equipment typically brings down maintenance costs, just like keeping your car running perfectly smooth past 30,000 or 60,000 or even 100,000 miles. It keeps those maintenance costs down. We want to increase the comfort of employees and your customers. If they're comfortable, your operating costs tend to stay in line and you don't have wild swings of making sure everybody is staying comfortable at their workstations. They're more productive. We have incentives available if it is a low cost measure or a cost of some sort to do efficiency. We will also help pay for that. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we want to just improve those building operations for years to come. In our building tune-up program, we have one requirement that does not exist in other stuff. You must use an approved service provider. What does that mean? We have a list of service providers that have gone through the training to understand what this more complex program offering is and can provide it in a way that meets all of our program requirements and gets energy savings to the business customer. But to do that, we're going to need to provide multiple paths for a customer to work through. We have one path called Performance Plus. This is really focusing in on your standard heating and cooling equipment and making sure it's maintained properly and consistently year in and year out. We want to make sure it's going to run optimally through maintenance. And then what we have is retro commissioning. We abbreviate this with an RCX. Retro commissioning is taking that deep dive into those complex systems and buildings with building automation systems and automatic controls to find where there are efficiencies. This is actually a really good opportunity now. In this past year, we've all noticed that many buildings have gone through an occupancy change. There are no employees in the building anymore, or they're in much reduced numbers, or our operating hours have changed. This is where it comes in, retro commissioning comes in, well, where we can look at what is the new standard of that building, and did all the equipment settings get changed to operate it the new way? And is it going to stay that way moving forward? There's a lot of detail on this slide, and you don't have to get too caught up on it, but just know we're there to help with incentives at a variety of levels to find the right way to make your building optimal. And if all the paths are confusing, we can help you choose the right path with a few simple questions. We call these screening questions. What makes sense for your building? We want to meet you where you are at as a business owner. So has it HVAC, the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning equipment operation, been affected during the past 12 months? Well, think about these past 12 months, or even a little bit longer, the last 15 months, full occupancy, and then all of a sudden everybody went home. Have they started coming back? Are they coming back? Who knows? Let's learn about that and see if we need to change our HVAC equipment settings. And then, does the facility use electric for heating and or cooling? Do you even know? Does it use gas? We want to know that. How can we make sure you're using whatever energy source optimal? Does the facility have a building automation system? This comes into some critical resetting of systems to make sure they are working correctly with the new way a building is being used. Do you have any major retrofits or additions planned? So our buildings change over time, but we think we build a building and just let it do its thing. Turns out they change quite often over time. We put new equipment inside or on the roof, or we have an expansion, or maybe we split the building up into different tenant suites. We want to take that into account. Is the equipment serving the building working in the way the building was originally designed? And then how much electric energy does the facility consume annually? We want to make sure we're looking at that, because that's going to give us an indication of how much we can actually save in our programs and which path makes sense for you to take. But digging a little deeper into our paths, Performance Plus, let's talk about that one first. Lots of detail a couple slides ago, and this one is just really paring it down. So this is all about getting out there, looking at your existing equipment that might not have really complex operating systems behind it. And we just want to make sure it's working right. We want to get in there and make sure we're maintaining it on a regular basis. And while we're maintaining it, we're going to do a little bit more while we're there. So this program is for those businesses that already have an existing maintenance contract. Many commercial properties have this. That's your HVAC contractor that shows up a few times a year. They're changing filters, making sure the stuff's working on the roof. Maybe they even reset your programmable thermostat from time to time. So have an existing maintenance contract. And then if you have that maintenance contract, ask them if they're participating in the Efficiency Works building tune-up program. If they're not, tell them to call us. We would love to get them up to speed and be participating with us. Once they're up to speed, we can have them do what we say is go above and beyond your standard maintenance program that you're already asking them to show up. We're going to ask them to do just a little bit more while they're there. There is no cost to the customer to participate in this program. The only cost is to make sure your service provider or HVAC maintenance contract is part of our program. So send them our way and we'll get them trained up. And those other paths that we talked about is all about retro commissioning. Retro commissioning is a very complex study of the building and finding opportunities to do efficiency upgrades, primarily in the heating and ventilation systems, but there may be some process systems. We have two paths within this: light retro commissioning and full retro commissioning. The light retro commissioning is about a 3 to 6 month process where we're going to do a study up front, and then we're going to show up and just do a whole bunch of implementation. Part of the program is we pay for that whole study up front, where we ask the customer to make a nominal commitment to do some efficiency upgrades. That nominal commitment typically means less than a 2-year payback of energy savings alone to offset the cost. So in less than 2 years, you'll have a return of your investment of what we are asking you to kick in, and we take the risk on everything else. The full retro commissioning program is a more complex and deeper dive into the facility. It can take about a year to finish. We're going to do a planning study. We're going to do some investigation. We're going to show up and do some work. And then we're going to also monitor that work for a longer period of time to make sure it's actually holding up to what we thought. And then we'll tweak it if it didn't. There's a study incentive that we'll pay for. And then we ask the customer to kick in just a little bit of money along the way to do those energy implementation upgrades. And once again, on this one, it's the small amount of 2-year payback for those energy efficiency upgrades. All this is a lot of detail, but how do you really start saving? Well, there's just a few simple steps. You can select the path that is best for your facility based upon what you've learned, or just contact an energy advisor to start talking. So steps 1 and 2 can be done at the same time. So contact an energy advisor, get started. You can look at the building tune-up opportunities, or you can look at all the other stuff if you're ready to jump right to a rebate type project. Step 3, you're going to implement your recommendations if it's in the building tune-up or anything else. But it's all about let's make a plan, let's work through the plan and make your facility as efficient as possible. And then finally, step 4, we're going to make sure what you did is actually working. So we're going to complete a post-service follow-up. We want to see, how did it work? Are you getting your energy savings? Are all the incentives paid out and everybody's happy? Quite simple to work through it all. And if you're not quite sure what to do, we just ask you to contact us along the way. And once again, you can always contact us at business@efficiencyworks.org, or just go to our website to learn all sorts of information, which is efficiencyworks.org. Are there any questions that we would like to cover today on building tune-up? I see Susan. Go for it.
I have a couple of questions, Bryce. One is, if I am a tenant, a business customer as a tenant in a building, am I eligible for tune-up?
Yes. So you're eligible for any of our program offerings as a tenant in a building. If you are a tenant in a building, what we would ask you to do is double check your lease. Who actually has control and the ability to make decisions over some of the equipment? And if it is you as the tenant, go forth, check in with us. Let's get you down that efficiency process. If it is something where you need to work with your property owner or the landlord, call them and say, here's a great program. Let's get going together on this. But yes, a tenant can sign up. We just make sure that if it is in your lease agreement, that you're informing the property owner depending upon the upgrade you might be doing.
Thanks. And then another question is just related to kind of the decision tree of determining what the best options would be for me as a business owner. So really the best step is to talk with an energy advisor who can either point me to a prescriptive rebate or help me determine the best tune-up path. I might think it's one, but based on a conversation with an energy advisor, when I describe some of my operations, they may direct me to a different path that might be more beneficial, right?
That's, yeah, absolutely correct. That's a really good observation. We want you to take advantage of the programs. Which one do you take advantage of and which one makes sense? Probably best check in with an energy advisor. They'll help navigate what makes sense, or even navigate your paperwork along the way. The best part is it's a free service. Energy advising is free to everybody. There is no risk. Just make that phone call or send an email and we'll be in touch and help you save money over the long haul.
And my last question has to do with the tune-up, and because things continue to change for businesses, seasonally or with economic changes, how often does it make sense for a business customer to go through a tune-up process?
That's a good question. So typically in the tune-up process, if we're talking the retro commissioning side, we would want to walk through that, get everything operational, and let it do its thing for a couple of years. And we'll watch it, but let it do its thing for a couple of years. Where we've seen the best opportunities arise again in the future is sometime between year 2 and year 4, coming back in and let's try it again. Because all of those upgrades that we did in the retro commissioning paths should have paid for themselves with the energy savings in 2 years or less. So sometime after that is when the investments start making sense. Plus, many buildings change over time. New equipment goes in, new facility manager utilizing the equipment slightly different, whatever it might be. And it's always good to touch base at a relatively short interval of time. And about 4 years is a great reoccurrence.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bryce,
Bryce, I have a question.
Sure.
I don't know which one would go first. Can you give an idea of how much of a time commitment on the business owner's part it would take to go through each one of these three options?
But on building tune-up, absolutely. The Performance Plus, it is about a 5-minute time commitment per year, meaning look at the agreement we're going to have you sign. It is a standard program thing where you got to sign your terms and conditions with defined print. But really what that is here's a service that's being offered. We just want to make sure you as a business customer are aware of it and you're okay with that service. All the rest of the work is between us and your HVAC service provider. On the retro commissioning side, there is a time commitment. It depends if you go through the light path or the full path. And on average, on the full path, it could be up to about 40 hours over that year of the facility manager's time or somebody deeply involved with that facility that knows it well. And on the light path, it's probably closer to about a 10-hour commitment. And what is in that commitment is mostly a data sharing, having some meetings with the retro commissioning service providers. So these tend to be engineers that come in and look at your building systems and make recommendations. And we need somebody with in-depth knowledge of that facility to sit down and meet with them, talk with them. Here's how the building operates. Here's the equipment I have. Here's the age of the equipment. Oh, and here's all my utility information. Let's look at that. So it's more about providing information and then some clarity of that information is what that time commitment is. It's not a time commitment of turning a wrench. It's meetings and providing data.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
I have a couple questions on the performance. So a lot of these, it seems like it's a no-brainer for a business owner. The hardest part is maybe that they just don't know about it.
Right.
Because there's the energy, it's not the energy advisor, but they're no cost. The energy
advising and facility assessments are entirely free as long as you're a commercial customer within the territory. So within Longmont Power and Communications.
That seems great. The Performance Plus included maintenance, but enhanced maintenance, if I can use that term correctly, but that has to be with a pre-approved contractor. Correct? Yeah,
so we have a pre-approved contractor list that we use for all of our building tune-up offerings. They are slightly different folks, depending upon if it's the Performance Plus path or the retro commissioning paths. And why do we require that is because in order to be part of that program, we require certain activities to occur that the HVAC technicians would need to do and know how to do. And so we put them through a training to make sure they're getting what we'd call that enhanced maintenance. So what do we want to make sure they're doing while they're on site or on the roof or whatever it is? We want to make sure they're hitting checking all the items off on the checklist and checking them off correctly. One of the really good examples that some maintenance contracts have and some don't is if the coils on an air conditioner are damaged. A big hailstorm goes through and all the coils are damaged. Those are those really fine little metal things on the side of an air conditioner. They get squished, and like a radiator of a car has these as well. They start getting squished and bent. Once they get past a certain percentage of those being bent, we require in this program that they be what we call combed out, realigned, and fixed. So they make the compressor and the coils all work optimal in that system. And we put them through a training to make sure they're identifying the proper percentages and details associated with that before we're willing to pay for their extra time to do it. And that helps ensure that our energy savings we're claiming is accurate as well.
Good. So you have them come out the fence if it gets to the point where you need to do that. That sounds
correct.
If I have a maintenance contractor that I already use and they're not on your list, can I have my maintenance done the way, with the contractor not on your list, but then also have your contractor come out?
What we would suggest is not do two contractors. You could, but I would suggest not doing that. What I would suggest is have your maintenance contractor contact us to find out how they can participate in the program, and we'll get them trained up, because then they can offer that same service when they're on your site or any other facility that they serve. That's what we would recommend. But technically, we could come out and do that. You might have some confusion of who's doing what maintenance and where if you have two contractors involved.
Okay, that's a really good suggestion. And then if we did the building retro commissioning, whether it's for the smaller buildings or the larger buildings, again, there's a small cost to the building owner, but it sure seems like that you get an awful lot back for the small amount that you have to put in.
Yeah,
Actually
and
taking measures.
exactly. There, from the start of the conversation, what we do very early on is we look at the overall energy use of the building, and from that we can give a rough estimate of the total energy savings we're anticipating getting before we take a deep dive into a study. There's some knowns that can come along the way there, just based upon past experiences and how buildings operate. So we can get an estimate of energy savings, and from that estimate of energy savings, we can identify as like, if you're going to save this much energy, that means your in theory, your bill should be that much lower, right? And from there, we'll look at the implementation of different efficiency upgrades. And that's where the study really comes in that we pay for up front. We'll pay for that study to find all those opportunities. We just want to make sure that once we find all those opportunities, somebody's going to do them. And yeah.
Yeah, so if I have a study done a year beforehand, you're saying, well, we estimate that if you implement some measures, you could save 2% of your energy or some percent. Is that kind of what you do? And then you actually look for the specific projects, or is it just the retro commissioning and the controls that save?
Retro commissioning and the controls is its own package deal in that aspect. From the study is the retro commissioning and the controls. We may find in the study there's other efficiency upgrade opportunities elsewhere that are beyond retro commissioning that we could then kick you into that energy advising and say, hey, let's do the retro commissioning of the building and get your heating and cooling systems upgraded and running optimal. But hey, you have a parking lot that needs upgraded as well. There's a whole nother efficiency upgrade, which is not part of the retro commissioning, but we can provide an incentive to pay for that. And part of the full conversation of the facility and multiple paths to help you get there.
Okay. And that's helpful. So you said for the smaller size building, the cost could possibly be $2,500. Is that, am I paying for part of the study? Or
No.
I don't think I'm paying for the study. Am I paying for some controls work, and I'm paying some of it, and Efficiency Works pays some of the controls work?
Essentially, you got that right. Yeah. So we're going to pay for the study up to on the light path up to $15,000 of a study, and typically that'll cover the full 100% cost of the study. And then when we pay $15,000, we ask you as a business owner to kick in $2,500 towards the efficiency upgrades that are identified in the study, which is essentially a controls upgrade, or some equipment just might need some pieces changed out.
And so I pay the $2,500, or the building owner pays $2,500, but Efficiency Works might pay some, or essentially you're paying for the study and then I'm paying for the work that comes out of the study, which is estimated to be around $2,500.
Correct. Yep. And then if you go way above and beyond what we ask for your commitment based upon the study, let's say the study identifies $100,000 worth of upgrade opportunities. Our ask is you pay $2,500. If we identify a whole bunch more opportunities, we can then say, well, let's put it in our rebate program to help offset those additional costs. So you can go much further with your retrofits and upgrades.
Okay, thanks. That's helpful. And on the last slide that you're showing here, you've got a website and an email address. Is there a phone number the customers call, or should they just go to the website, and is that on there, or is it strictly email?
So I'm going to share only email right now. And the reason why is because of COVID, nobody's actually sitting at their desk to answer that phone. And the fastest response will come through email. Yes, we have a phone line when we are back in person in our offices. We'll start sharing that again. But for fastest service, the email tends to be the best opportunity. If you are somebody that just wants to talk on the phone and that's how your comfort level is, email us to say, please give me a call back at this number. We will call you back. But we'll be calling from our own cell phones instead of our office phones.
Okay, great. Thank you for all the information.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? I'm going to stop sharing, and I think I have a couple of questions for maybe Chuck at the moment. Chuck, are you ready? You're on mute. All right, Chuck. So being a Longmont Power and Communications commercial customer, and if I was a large commercial customer as in a key account, where should I start in the process of becoming more energy efficient?
I would say get on the Efficiency Works website and I would talk to an energy advisor. And then I would request an assessment of my facility to identify the opportunities I have within that facility and then move forward based on whatever the recommendations are.
Great. And just kind of for clarity for those customers that do start with the Efficiency Works programs to become more efficient, and if those conversations veer into areas beyond energy efficiency, the Efficiency Works program will focus on your efficiency of your operations, and we will guide you to the right resource for those other questions. So if you have rate concerns or upcoming infrastructure, things like meter changeouts or transformer requirements or things like that, we'll guide you right back to Longmont Power and Communications staff to make sure you have the right resources available. Okay. Any other questions we want to address?
Doesn't look like it.
All right.
So I guess with that, I guess I would like to thank Bryce Brady and obviously I think the Efficiency Works program has helped all the 4 cities tremendously and businesses within those facilities or within those cities. And I think people really need to take advantage of these programs. All of us would tell you that I would say in most facilities, there are opportunities out there and you won't know until you take advantage of these opportunities. So with that, I'd also like to thank Chamber of Commerce and the people that participated today for having us here. And Kathy, I'll give it back to you for closing remarks.
All right, thank you, everyone. And Bryce, we appreciate the presentation, and Chuck for getting us started. Thank you for the questions that were asked. And this is being recorded and will be posted on the Chamber's website, and we'll, in our e-news, we'll post that link so people can get in there and watch this. So with that, I say thank you to everyone and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.